Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another movie spoiler review, and I was about to say just a couple of days ago on Thursday, I got the chance to go see the Matt Reeves Batman movie, the most long-awaited Batman movie for a good period of time. You know, with the pandemic, kind of pushing this and delaying this for a good like a year, but finally arrived. And around time when they lifted the mask mandates for Illinois, so it was like, for the most part, I was managed to like be able to, aside from get on the bus stops, that I still had to wear a mask. I keep the mask handy just in case. But when I got into the mall, where I go to the my AMC theater, I go see I go right on in, maskless, even though the employees there for them. I think like, I don't know, because my job is optional. Whether or not you feel like you still want to wear the mask, be my guest. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. And it's like, I go to work, I am completely maskless, but I still carry one on me just in case I go to a spot where they do require me to wear a mask, and then I'll oblige. But yeah, I go in the theater, and let me say, I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple of movie theater goings ago. When you're sitting in the theater and you're thinking like the movie's about to start, and they play that dumb, I won't say dumb, but this commercial with Nicole Kidman talking about how, like, you go to theaters to see your heroes that you see yourselves in. You go there to laugh and cry. Play the damn movie. It's like, you don't. They started playing this when like the theaters was like allowing people back in late last fall, and it's like, you know, after a month or two, you would think like, okay, take that away. It's about as annoying as like the M&M's commercial when like the bomb was about to go off kind of situation. Like they're making an M&M commercial. It's like, it's annoying. I don't care for it. I really at this point want to get to the fucking movie, you know. But anyway, this is a personal thing of mine. It's like I don't care when they drag it out. And it's like, you go through all these trailers, get to the damn movie, okay? You played all your little previews, there's stuff that we're gonna see, or you're trying to hype up for the following year or two. But you know, enough of this preamble with like an extra commercial. But anyway, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I freaking love this movie. It's 3 hours long, and apparently, this is full spoilers, by the way. And apparently, there is a stinger at the end, but I didn't stick around for that because I took a gamble, because 50/50 DC movies don't really have end credits. That's more so of a Marvel thing. It's a guaranteed Marvel thing. It's never guaranteed with DC, and I kind of think there should be like a friend of mine told me that there's a website to let people know where a movie has like a end credit or anything like that. But it's like, if you're a comic book movie, there should be like a thing on social media or something before the movie is released, like a month or two. It should be like, or at least the director should say like, hey, there's an end credit scene. Please stick around towards the end to check it out. So that way people won't be like getting up and leave, because I don't feel like an asshole for like getting up and leaving when like there's gonna be a little bit more, because it's never guaranteed with DC. But anyway, like I said, I freaking love this movie, especially with like Robert Pattinson's narration when he's like talking about, because it's like at least a few comic books that this movie reminds me of, like Batman Earth 1, Long Halloween, Batman Ego, Batman Hush. So you get like a feel of different versions of comic books in this, and like the narration kind of reminds me of Long Halloween, with like because that is like heavy narration with Batman involved, more so than probably any other Batman comic book. And when he's talking about how like when that light, that bat light shines in the sky, uh, it's like it's a warning. And it's like as soon as that shines, you see like people like looting and robbing and whatever on the street, and they see that light shine in the sky, and they happen to be near like an alleyway or a street that's completely shrouded in darkness, no light whatsoever. And man, it's like reminding me of like Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. How it's like horror film vibes, It's like if you go down that fucking alley, your ass is fucked. And it's like, dude, is people just because like I was literally terrified. I was legit terrified. It's like you go down this alley, nobody's gonna help you. Like you're gonna be all alone, and it's like this dude is gonna it's like the terror involved. As like it reminds me of like I believe this was in Batman the Animated Series, how like or Batman Beyond, I forget which, but when he talks about how like no, it wasn't in the shows, it was in Batman Arkham Origins. As a matter of fact, in Batman Arkham Origins, there was this line that Bruce Wayne tells Alfred, like at least halfway through the game, how like when that light shines in the sky, it causes the criminal element to think, because that is fear. They are afraid of me. Okay, and that's what I want. I want them to think about what they're gonna do, because as soon as the light shines, they know I'm out there, and it's like it gives them like a moment to ponder for a second about what they're gonna do next, because like I will find them, and it's like, and I like the opening narration talk about I know I can't be everywhere at once, but they don't know that, because I could be looming in the shadows, or like I am the shadow. That's what he says. Like I am the shadow, and it's like, hey Daniel, yeah, sorry, but I hope you follow me on Twitter still, because like I got some issues with like Facebook and Instagram. I think my Instagram is doing fine. I had to do like a new thing. I sent you a DM on Twitter so you'll know, but Facebook is been fucking me up lately, and it's like I don't even know. It's kind of pissing me off. But I hope you got the chance to see like the Batman movie, because I'm doing full spoilers right now. I just started, so you haven't really like got spoiled yet if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I was like, I love that discussion. Like that is fear. Like I am the shadow, and it's like right, and I was like, because from the first time we saw the trailer to this, when like Batman beat up those goons and they had that face makeup, and people assume like it was like, oh, there's a Joker gang or something like that. And it's like in my mind, I was like, no, they kind of remind me from like the Arkham gangs when Penguin's henchmen with those black and white makeup on. That's in my mind. I'm thinking that was Penguin's henchmen, but no, they're just like random dudes with face paint. And so, yeah, man, this movie is freaking good. It's 3 hours long. There is moments where it could have been paced a little bit better. Well, by and large, it's pretty damn good. But man, you talking about brutal. It's like Matt Reeves was like a slap in the face to Nolan. It's like, This is how you make a freaking like fight scene. No cuts or edits. This is like, well, at least I want to say no edits, but it's like very light on the edits because of the fight scene. It's held on for a good chunk of time, and you seen like Batman beat the hell out of these people, and like that's why it's giving me like certain moments is giving me like Batman Earth One vibes, where it's like early days of Batman. Like, I mean, in the movie it's set like a year two in Batman's career, so he's fairly new at this. Because there's a moment where he's base jumping off the top of the GCPD building. And, like, you see that moment, like, because, I'm so glad they did not delve into, like, the Wayne's murder or anything. They cut all that out. It's like 3 heroes that you don't need origin stories, or at least hash out their origin stories ever. Again, at least not for a good long while. Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Those are the 3 heroes, primarily, that you do not need to rehash their origin story. We know about Uncle Ben dying. We know about Krypton being blown up. We know about Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot. It's been harped on for at least 3 decades. I think it'll take at least 3 decades for us to do a roundabout thing again. But it's like the Earth 1 comic, which I don't think I did for a comic book review of yet, but will eventually. But in the comic, it's like in like the first volume, when Batman is trying to use like a grappling hook to chase after this dude, and he pretty much it got entangled because it's not having like the proper motors inside to function correctly, and he falls and eats it and falls in some trash, and it's completely again is he like I said, he completely eats it. It's like it's despite thanks to Nolan bringing light to what kind of training we should expect from Batman during his years abroad, learning all these different martial arts skills, forensic science, detective work, and all this other stuff to, become who he is. He's still, not fine-tuned it yet. And it's like when he like base jumps, you can see like a moment where he's like, oh my God, I'm really high up. And like, but he knows he has to do it before he gets like, busted by the cops. So he does this like a squirrel suit thing and base jumps off the building, and like he's trying to land on top of this bus that's going by, but he misses it and like crashes into like a side of a not the side, but it's like part way through like a overpass or something like that, and like falls to the ground. Something in the way of Nirvana fits perfectly in the atmosphere. Yeah, but the musical score is phenomenal. It's like I was literally humming the theme to this movie as soon as I left out the theater. Even though it's like when you hear hints of Darth Vader theme in the background. I kind of hope this movie comes out on HBO Max next month because I really want to see this again. But yeah, I love the fact that despite all the training that we can rightfully assume that he acquired, over the years since his parents' death, that he, you can have all the skills and knowledge in the world, but it's like Ra's al Ghul mentioning like the will to act. I was like, utilizing that stuff is a whole nother animal. And like he's using it, but it's like he doesn't got it down to a science yet. So it's gonna be like some bumps in the road. Or like in Batman Year One, when he's donning the costume for the first time, he's hopping off rooftops and you see these 2 guys stealing from a house, and it's like he barely beats them because he's getting caught off guard. Like complete amateur move to something that you did not, because like 3 guys looting a place is a fairly simple task for Batman that we know of to easily handle. But This is year one in this version, not the movie, but the comic, or even the animated movie that I went over on the channel. You can hear me talk about it in full detail. But it's like he nearly beats all these guys because again, like he's trying to terrify them, and it's like, and he's just like, instead of handling business, he's just like, he getting caught off guard, and it's like, it's just like all these other things, and he nearly trying to save one guy from falling off the roof, and the other guy's trying to come at him, like, beat him over the head, and it's like, and he's narrating like Lucky Amateur. So he's very hard on himself. You can tell like how like when like moments when he's hard on like Robins and like Batgirl is like the way like he's hard on them, through the subsequent years in his career is the same way how hard he is on himself during his early years, because like this is like you shouldn't as skillful as you are, you shouldn't have this much trouble. But anyway, and this is around the time when he's like not like when people don't know what to make of Batman. All they know is some criminal vigilante beating up bad guys, and like Jeffrey Wright's Gordon is very, very good. It's like arguably he's like the second, well, if you're talking about live action, he's the second best Jim Gordon behind what's that guy from the Nolan Gordon? I forgot like Nolan's Gordon, but the actor, what is that? Gary Oldman. I keep wanting to say Jeffrey Rush for some doggone reason. And like arguably it's like in fun, I want to say fun fact, this is like a weird thing I did not even notice until a few minutes ago. This is like a second movie involving Penguin and Catwoman with Batman since Batman Returns. We haven't had like a solid movie with like a Penguin and Catwoman together with Batman. That is wild to me. And it's like Zoe Kravitz Catwoman is phenomenal. Like I love her, and it's like arguably my second favorite Catwoman behind Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. And like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, I didn't care for. I've mentioned this in my Batman Nolan trilogy reviews. It's like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman doesn't seem like she was totally invested in the role, and it's like, like she's very, even with like the animated series Catwoman, she's even lower than that. For me, the best Gordon, I like how he team on the, yeah, it's like, and this is a true detective film, so it's like you bringing in Gordon to these crime scenes involving the Riddler, because it's like these are very good riddles too, and not only good riddles, they're like puns where you actually got like a severed thumb connected to a thumb drive, and it's like thumb drive. Oh god. Eartha Kitt's Catwoman's pretty damn good too, but I gotta say Anne Hathaway is probably even, I don't know. Like I said, it might be even lower than that, because at least Eartha Kitt's Catwoman is a little bit more invested, as campy as it is. Everybody even still played it, straight, even in the 60s Batman. So it's like I really did not care for Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. It's like, it's not like she was terrible, but it's like she was not invested, and if she's not invested, I'm not invested. And it's like, man, it's like Zoe Kravitz Catwoman was like straight off the page from the comics. But he's on this crime scene involving the Riddler, which I gotta say, I like the actor playing the Riddler, and I'm enjoying like the moments he's in. The outfit is just like, it's very gimp suit in a way. I get what they're going for with the whole Zodiac killer vibes, and yeah, I get it, and it works. But it's just like, what I wish they did was at least somewhere in the movie he ditches that and dons his green question mark suit. Even in the Gotham TV series, Edward Nigma, or at least Edward Nashton or whatever. I just call him Edward Nigma. That's his fucking name, Edward Nigma. Even, getting towards like, halfway through the series, he started donning of some facsimile, or like not even like the same suit, but it's like different variations of his, cool green suit with question marks on it, and it's very like just dapper. And he didn't have to need the bowler hat, but at least put him in a nice, cool green suit. And like, some people say that they wouldn't work in this kind of movie. I think it does. You don't need to be like flashy about it, but it's like there's lots of green suits that all you gotta do is like do some needlework and put some green question marks on it. It can still look very, stylized. It can work in this. I'm just not a fan of that, the wrap on his face. And I get he's trying to do this whole anonymity thing, but it's just like it just wasn't. I wasn't feeling it. And like, I love Colin Farrell's Penguin. His take on the Penguin is fine. I'm still in the camp where I'm not fully invested in the idea of him having his own series. That they're playing like making a Penguin series and it's about the underworld. And it's like, if we learn anything from the book of Boba Fett, there are times when some people don't need their own series. You don't need a spin-offs of every little thing. No matter how good a person can be in a particular supporting role, you don't need to start thinking like, oh, we need like a Penguin series. Fucking why? And there's a discussion video I'm gonna do like soon after this video, talking about how because I bet you, because DC Comics has been like harping on the Joker stuff for a good period of time, since especially after the Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie. They've been like hampering on Joker stuff, and like Batman has a large rogues gallery of villains you can choose from, but you are harping on this one particular, either him or Bane, or just primarily those two. But it's like Paul Dameron's the beast at the like the because like he doesn't need to be like Jim Carrey, but there's good suits that's got a shade of green that can work in this kind of outlet. But like I said, I was gonna make a discussion video talking about how there's not even just Batman stuff, but it's just like when comic books or movies want to do, like Hollywood want to do certain movies based off of certain characters, and the director want to use a particular villain, like the Black Widow movie, for example. I'm going to talk about this when I do my discussion video in a little bit. But like the Black Widow movie, when it was announced that Taskmaster will be like a villain in there, then lo and behold, there's like a 5 or 6 issue run of like a Taskmaster comic, and it's like, oh my god, it's like you only making these comments because there's a movie coming out, and it's like, and I trust and believe after, with the next month or two, there's gonna be a whole plethora of Riddler comics going out the yin yang, and it's half of them probably not gonna be that good because they're shoving them on to writers who's not gonna be fully invested, and they're just doing it, because they've been asked to do it, and it's like, you should give characters like these love a long time ago and give them to writers who would not only want to do it, but have a story to tell with them. Now they're just going to be doing it just to do it because they're being told to do it. Because we got, it's like, oh, DC, you know who we love? The Riddler. Let's put out some Riddler stuff. And it's like, if you wasn't wasting all your good writers on all this Joker crap, because Joker makes money, and it's like you wasted, because Joker is supposed to be a treat. Joker is like ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream. I love ice cream. You love ice cream. But if you have ice cream every day, you get sick of it. And sometimes you want a salad. Sometimes you want a hot dog. It's like, you get my meaning. It's like that's what they treated Joker like. You using him as a crutch, as like easy money, and it's like, and they did like a snippet of a teaser with Joker. You didn't get like a full view, but it was him. And at least I'm glad it wasn't Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, I did not want, as I stated many times before. I acknowledge how good the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was, but I'm still in the mindset that it still was not needed. And lo and behold, they're making a sequel to the damn thing. But it's like, we did not need a Joker movie. He's one unique character that did not require an origin story. We don't care where he came from. It's like, it's multiple person. It's like, he stated in the Killing Joke, if I'm going to, I believe it was in the Killing Joke, it was somewhere in the comics, where he mentions, like, if I'm going to have an origin story, I'd rather it be multiple choice. And that's how we all enjoy that. Just let it, just like with, like, Deadpool, for example. In my mindset, it's like, Deadpool is just he's insane, yeah, but it's like, you don't need to explain why he can break the fourth wall. He just does. This is part of his repertoire. You can chalk it up to, like, he went insane and just somehow he's be able to peer to the fourth wall, but just, you don't really need that. Just let it be a thing. It's just like, it's like, and it's like, I'd rather, maybe they, in the sequel, because Matt Reeves wanted to do a trilogy, maybe in the sequel, we still won't get Joker, and maybe it's like a mislead, but it's like, I will have so much respect for Matt Reeves if he hold off on using the Joker until maybe like a third or maybe a fourth film. Just like, he leave him as like a lingering threat in the background of his version of Batman franchise. And just like, maybe in the next film we're doing like maybe Calendar Man or Firefly or Poison Ivy. Give like Poison Ivy like a center stage kind of thing. Firefly, Mad Hatter. You can do so much because like Batman has hundreds. I want to say hundreds, but it's like, at least 50 villains to work with. If you take a moment to Google it, and you could, have like a plethora of stuff. Calendar Man, Poison Ivy, Firefly, Polka Dot Man. It's like he already been using the Suicide Squad movie, but it's gonna be a different thing. Mr. Freeze. I think Matt Reeves did say he wanted to do a Mr. Freeze thing. You have like Mad Hatter with Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and it's like uh yeah, I'm blanking. It's like it goes to Ra's al Ghul, but it's like, you already used Ra's al Ghul and Talia and Bane, through like the Nolan stuff. But who knows? But Court of Owls in this movie, they really, really lean in on like Hush. They really lean in on like certain spots when you see, you're trying to solve clues and stuff. And you see like images with like words Hush on it, and like. And they talk about the founders of Gotham, and it's like, yes, you can do Court of Owls. Like they're making a Gotham Knights video game with the Court of Owls being like the main villains, and it's like you can, and that's another thing. Like Batman, a New 52 run, like Batman. I forgot what the proper title was, but yes, this Batman versus the Court of Owls, and like I don't like the New 52 stuff, but the very few stuff that I actually like was like Batman. I mean like Justice League Forever Evil, Batman Eternal, and Batman the Court of Owls. There's another one I'm blanking on it, but but there's like the few things out of the New 52 I actually enjoyed. And Batman vs. the Court of Owls, it was just genius. Where like these ordinary people with like all these like eyes wide shut kind of stuff going on are giving Batman a run for his money, and could easily have been involved in like, or maybe not directly, but maybe indirectly involved in the death of his parents. And it's like, or even like hints to like Batman the Telltale series, where it's like, Bruce learns that his father, inadvertently asked, Carmine Falcone to do something about this reporter whose name Elliot could be hinting at Thomas Elliot, who is Hush, and like dealing with him because he was about to out his wife's secret history about involving like her mother shooting her father when she was a little kid, and she was in and out of like the Arkham Institution and everything like that. And it's like this kind of really gets on Bruce's, like he is, tenting his view on the way he saw his father as like this, good man. Is like and like Andy Serkis's Alfred is pretty good. I still think like Michael Gough from the Tim Burton ones, and I think Michael Caine's Alfred is pretty damn good, and then Jeremy Irons' Alfred is awesome too. And I think like Andy Serkis, maybe I think Andy Serkis is probably be like number 4 on that list, because you barely get enough time with him in this film. When he pops up, it's good, it's really good, but it's like you get more time with the other Alfreds in the previous films than you do here. Oh, yeah, Daniel, good point. It's like, God, I was literally in the theater when that moment when like Batman's trying to look at that kid, and obviously, he's running parallels between like, him as a kid and having to witness his parents' death. And it's like, I'm literally sat in that theater and I'm thinking to myself, please God, don't do that whole Christopher Nolan thing. It's like, oh, there's John Robin Blake bullshit. Like, oh my God, I'll be booing in the fucking theater. It's like, please don't do that. They're not doing that. But oh my God, it's like, they do not make him Tim Drake or Jason Todd or like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Just let him just be a one-off kid. But anyway, I'm kind of flip-flopping around. They trying to investigate, and you kind of think like it's like from the trailers, you're trying to figure out the Riddler of who is the Riddler. I mean, that is like the main story, but no, the Riddler is pretty much, often people in sadistic, very sadistic. This is PG-13, but you can easily make this an R, where it's like you put in all these jigsaw traps, which kind of reminds me of Batman Arkham games, where it's like all these crazy traps and contraptions that you see in the games, and you see him like putting these people in these very messed up positions, but it's like you're trying to figure out, or at least maybe not as an audience, but like Batman and Gordon is trying to figure out these people's death is involved because the people dying was or high profile figures in the police department and or at least government officials who were involved in this case involving this rat they gotta find. And it's just like a cool moment when it's like, because Batman is literally, which is kind of cool, but it's like, he got these contacts in his eyes, which is a cool idea because I never would have considered. Well, you would think like because Batman, because his suit is cool, but it's not that advanced yet. Because I'm pretty sure by year 3 or 4 he'll start inventing some ways where the cow will have like detective vision, so that way he can easily record stuff. Because like he's always constantly on the move, or he's like going through a crime scene or anything like that. So he needs to be able to like ascertain stuff that he humanly cannot do, especially on the go. So it's cool to have like a proto detective vision in a way to be on his context, so where like he's literally walking through a room and he's like, scanning faces and like crime scenes and everything, and he goes back to the proto Batcave and be able to like pull up on the computer and then like print out some stuff and then like be able to look through this stuff, so that way when he has some downtime he actually can take the time to actually look at this thing. And like the deciphering, and like kudos to like Andy Serkis's Alfred, to where he's helping, with the investigations. Alfred's pretty damn smart too, because being part of like the British Secret Service, in his younger years and everything like that. So he's pretty smart in his own right. And it's like, even though in this emo Bruce Wayne kind of treat him like shit, like, you're not my father, Alfred. And it's like, that kind of hurt my soul. It's like, dude, it's like, keep in mind, this is like early Bruce Wayne. Like, he's very emo. Pretty sure, like, give it time. He's like, in time he'll see Alfred as his surrogate father. Especially after, like, and it's like, once again, it's like, it reminds me of Batman Arkham Origins when, like, Bane breaks into the Batcave and, like, he's like, beating the hell out of Alfred, and it's like, he's charging back at his home, and it's like, and it's like in the movie, it's like, it's it's muted, but it's like you hear him screaming like, Alfred. It's just like, it's just so good. It's like you could see like hints of almost like Matt Reeves really like utilized a lot of research, more so than even like Snyder did in his version. And it's like, you see like the games, you see the comics, and you see even previous Batman movies sprinkled out through the stuff. Even though it's like Matt Reeves' take on it, you can see subtle things, especially if you're like a huge Batman fan. You can see the subtle hints of other Batman stuff, just sprinkled throughout the stuff. Like, maybe who isn't like a Batman fan, but you can see like Matt Reeves took the time to do some heavy research to make sure he makes like the best, even if it's like a one-off, which is not, but even if it was a one-off, you can tell he made a solid Batman movie. But man, yeah, and Winston's like, Hush is a good sequel bait kind of villain, because nobody uses Hush. The only time you actually see Hush in anything is in like the games, and like Arkham Knight, he was like a side character, but it's like in Arkham's in Arkham City, he was like the first Arkham game, he was just like a hidden message, kind of not a hidden message, but like a clue, a Riddler clue that you can find out about like another Batman villain. But in Arkham City, he's actually like a side character, not a side character, but it's like a side quest. And like in Arkham Knight, you actually, because he was like a cameo in City with mixed with a side quest, but he's actually a legit side quest, and you can actually see and kind of fight Hush, but because he's not a fighter, he's not. He may look like Bruce Wayne, but he's not Bruce Wayne. So Batman can easily knock him out. And talking about Batman in the Batmobile, this scene when he got out of the car. That's what I was talking about. How like it gives me like kind of that could easily been played like a horror movie kind of situation because like man. Because that score really hits you differently when he's stepping out in that car and the flames going in the back and Penguin's literally upside down, trapped as this monster of a dude. Even though he's not big, but just the intimidation. Like this dude is like walking, like and it's like the moment when he's just peering down at him, it's like holy shit, I would have been pissing my fucking pants. And it's like he's like just I can only imagine him just ripping him out of that doggone car. And it's like, oh my god, it's just like, just because like I said, the score really hits differently when you in that moment, and he's just like, it's like that dung. This is like, oh my god, it's like can you imagine? Like, I bet you in any comic book convention going on this year, and it's like, it's gonna be a lot of people dressed like, it's like a few things that's been great in film recently. There's Encanto. Spider-Man and the Hawkeye series, and then Matt Reeves' Batman. How many people do you think would be dressed up like Matt Reeves' Batman? And like you hear somebody playing the song, and it's like you're doing that slow-mo walk, and it's like the cape flapping. It's gonna be like, I can't imagine like how many people it's like, especially in just like it's Mirabelle from Encanto and Matt Reeves' Batman. Because there's already tons of Spider-Man and like Deadpool and people just like Hawkeye already. But it's like Matt Reeves versus the Batman and Mirabelle from Encanto is going to be like hell of a lot of people this year's cons going on. Cause especially at the Mask Monday and everybody's vaccinated and everything like that. It's going to be like a plethora of those two going on. Oh, by the way, I like the Spanish speaker. I laugh a lot when... Oh yeah, that was in. That's probably one of my favorite Penguin moments when it's like he had to correct Gordon and Batman on that, and it's like, dude, your Spanish sucks. It's like you don't even know that he can't. I did not know that because I thought they was right on the money on that one. It's like, dude, I was like, oh my god, oh dude, I was like, that I laughed my. There's 2 times I laughed my ass off. It was that really blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe like. And it's like the look on Batman's face when just the sheer like, I got schooled by fucking Penguin of all people. It's like, oh my fucking god. It's like this is so embarrassing. I saw it on Tuesday night in the fanny van. I knew the general wasn't ready. I was like, oh, I lost my shit. And the second time I lost my shit, I was like, I dying laughing when like Gordon was going to help Bruce or Batman get out of the police precinct, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to strike me, like, and make it good. And it's like he decks him, and then he meets up with Batman later. It's like, you could have pulled your punch, and it's like, I did. So I laughed my ass off. I was like, I knew, and I think we all know that Batman can take off anybody's head with a single punch if he really wanted to, and it's like. The fact that he still hits pretty damn hard when he pulls his punches, that's just wild to me. Because it's like, yeah, his dude's trained his ass off. So yeah, he probably hits like a fucking Mack truck. But man, I lost my shit with that El Rata. Oh my god, that was so damn funny. Because what really sold it was the Batman's expression. That's what really sold it. It's like, I got fucking schooled by fucking Penguin of all people. It wasn't even somebody smarter. It's not like Penguin is an idiot, but it's just like the fact that the Penguin had to tell them their Spanish sucks. It's like, wow, that got me. That really got me. Oh my god, yeah. And it's like the Batmobile. I gotta talk about the Batmobile. I argue that I think this Batmobile is better than the Tumbler in the Nolan trilogy. I might be in the minority in that. Because a lot of people love that Batmobile. But In fact, they were 3 badass Batmobile, badass Batman with the police. Yeah, yeah, that fight. Yeah, that because like Gordon really because Gordon's been vouching for Batman for because they only you don't know their history in this version, but the fact that this is his second year, you can assume just by from what you remember from like Nolan trilogies or any other version of Batman that he probably helped Gordon liberate Gotham from all this organized crime, so they build a camaraderie. But the fact that Gordon had to like vouch for Batman and then hold Batman back because like Batman can easily take out that entire room of police officers by himself without question. Because especially when that guy yanked his ear, and then earlier in the movie when like the dude puts his hands on Batman's chest to keep him from the crime scene, it's like, dude, you better move your fucking hand if you want to keep that fucking hand. Because like Batman can easily just twist that sucker in the right way, and you be like, you gonna have a broken hand for weeks. I prefer this over the Dark Knight as a Batman film, at least for me as a Batman. Really, the Dark Knight. Are you sure to talk about Rises, Derpy, or you actually talking about the best version, best out of the 3 Nolan trilogies? Because like the Dark Knight is pretty still high up for me, but this movie really shot us, especially out of the gate. Matt Reeves is like you. It's not even on the same level as Matt Reeves' Batman is not even on the same level as like Batman Begins. That's how good it is to me because I love Batman Begins. I love Batman Begins even more so than even Rises. But man, Matt Reeves' Batman is like it's close, but not as good as the Dark Knight. But because like I'm pretty sure like I did like a YouTube tier list for all the Batman movies that I enjoyed. I'm pretty sure I did that. But like, I'll double check if I haven't done a tier list for all the Batman movies that I enjoyed. That I might do one at some point. But I argue maybe because Batman 89 and Batman Returns are pretty high up for me as far as like my love for those, because I grew up with Keaton Batman, so I'm a little biased, but I think I put like Batman Returns as if I can do like a quick little tier list. This is like just like off the top of my head because I think I have to do a really thorough thing, but I gotta say like Batman 89, Batman Returns, Matt Reeves' Batman, and The Dark Knight are S tier off the fucking bat. Those 4 are S tier off the bat immediately. It's how just so well crafted. The cinematography, the acting, the script, the writing involved, the dialogue, just like the choreography for the most part is just like. Oh, thanks for reminding me, Derby. Like Gotham City, this is probably like next to Tim Burton, this is probably the most authentic. I mean, shot in like some parts have been shot in here in Chicago, but man, it's like, I mean, probably like, it's like neck and neck with Tim Burton because even though I like the Nolan. Gotham City, I don't want to say it didn't feel like Gotham City, but it's like maybe because why I put Tim Burton and Matt Reeves' Gotham City so high right now is because you barely get any daytime, if any. You can probably see maybe dusk and dawn a little bit, but for the most part it's either rainy or snowy or just straight up just nighttime. And like with Nolan trilogy, it's like you have a fair bit of daytime with your fair bit of nighttime with his films. And like when it's nighttime, it feels like fucking Gotham in Nolan's version. But when it's daytime, so. But man, yeah, I don't think I did like a tier list for Batman. I should definitely do one. But yeah. Oh, yeah, you think that this movie does feel like... No, mention it, kind of. It does, like very early days in Batman's career, kind of Arkham Knight. Cause like yeah, and like speaking of Arkham Knight, it's like the grappling hook that Batman has. It's like the compartment that kind of like flips out. It kind of reminds me. Now I'm thinking about it. It kind of reminds me of Mortal Kombat Scorpion in a way. You know, where it just kind of flicks out and he's just like turns to a gun and fires it, and it's like it's so cool. I was like, holy shit! It's like I never thought about it. It's like, of course, it probably will change it to be like a separate thing when his suit gets more advanced. But the fact that it's like a compartment that turns into like a quick little firing mechanism, so you can fire really easily without him trying to take it out, even though they probably had to be a little bit more convenient to be a separate thing, because as the suit gets more advanced, you're gonna have to make some tweaks and changes. But yeah, I mean, it's so spot on. Like I said, in certain moments it's like 3 hours long. In certain moments it drags, but it's like I like how mobile this version of the Batsuit is. The fact that he carries along with him, for the most part. He takes his like motorcycle and he's peeping Tom and the Catwoman, but still though, it's like, and like this is the only movie out of all the Batman movies. This is the only movie, and I mentioned this previously before. Many times I bring up like Matt Reeves' Batman. It's the only time you get to see like eye makeup around the eyes, and he's taken off, and it's okay to, because like you can tell in other Batman movies that he has like the guy liner on, and it's like every time he takes it off, they quick edit, and it's no longer there, and it's like we suspend our disbelief for the longest time about that, but there have been jokes made about that over the years, because like the black little stuff around his eyes. But in this, it's like it makes a huge amount of sense that when he takes off his stuff, there's no edit to like where like the makeup is gone. No, we're like, and we've seen this in the very first trailer of the Matt Reeves Batman. That's like the biggest thing that was talked about. The fact that they acknowledge the fact that he has guy lighter on to, with the ensemble of the mask. And you still see that when he's like trying to like be incognito and he's got his hood on and everything like that. But there's times in this film where he's like dealing with like all these riddles, and like the attorney with like the bomb around him, and like and that part in the funeral, they kind of reminded me of like, if you've seen like, it's funny how this is called the Batman, and there's a TV show that I really love called The Batman that was on the WB Kids block in the early to mid 2000s, which at some point I want to do like a spoiler review of each season of that, because there's a lot of Batman stuff I want to talk about from the shows. But there's the first appearance of the Riddler in the Batman TV show had like one of the police officers there that's working with Batman. I think in the second season of that, where she's trying to solve these riddles, and like when she gets stumped on, Batman's hiding in the shadows, and he's on her earpiece telling her the answers, and it's like this dude literally like is trying to answer these riddles, and he's a nervous wreck. He's not thinking straight, and it's like, I forgot the riddle, but it's like, and Batman's just just in front of him. It's like, justice. The answer is justice. And it's like, that's what it reminded me of immediately. I was like, yes, like Batman is a crime solver. Despite that El Rata situation, he's pretty damn good at figuring things out. And it's like, sometimes he needs help with like with Gordon or Alfred, with especially like deciphering codes, which one of which it has like the big cipher thing turns out to be Drive. The entire thing, the Riddler, I love the Riddler. Riddler's my favorite villain of all time in all of comics. And like, people always complain about how like they can't make any good Riddler stuff because the riddles are too hard. Not only because you didn't put enough or at least some don't put in enough effort to make a good Riddler story involving the riddles. And sometimes it doesn't always have to be complicated riddles. It can be puns sometimes, like thumb drive. And it's like, it's just that, you know, if you do some research, maybe you'll have the time to come up with like some solid puzzles. Because like if like all these TV animated series who have like 20 to 30 minutes to make a solid short Riddler stuff, and they can pull off some solid clues, not clues, but just riddles, a movie can have like a plethora of time to build up this thing, or even like not even a movie, I'm sorry, a comic, who probably, have a fair bit of more time than a TV show does, can come up with, at least 5 solid riddles. And the bulk of the other stuff can be like gadgets he got to figure out to unlock people out of their little jigsaw-like traps. Because, I mean, just put in the effort. If he wasn't wasting time with Joker, maybe we'll have time to do all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, it's like everything involved in this movie is so doggone solid. I was kind of hoping, because I haven't seen like any stinger, but I was kind of hoping that this version of Batman will be like the cinematic universe's Batman, but it's like an Elseworlds thing, which is fine. But it's like, if you want like a continuation of Batman stuff with the Justice League, you definitely need someone young, and Robert Pattinson's doing like a spot on job. And it's like, you could carry that on for, a good 10 years. Because like, as great as Michael Keaton's going to be, he can't do this forever. He probably have at best 5 years at this, if that, before he eventually has to bow out. It's just like it's like a whole thing. It's like Robert Pattinson is a pretty damn good Batman, and Bruce Wayne. Because sometimes it wasn't until, Keaton did a good balance of the two. I think maybe Adam West did I don't even say, because Adam West didn't feel like he was doing because like when Batman and Bruce Wayne are two separate entities in a way, and you got to be able to split the two apart. With Adam West's version, he doesn't do anything to differentiate himself because it's campy. He didn't have to, but I think Keaton, Bale, Pattinson are arguably the only 3 actors who knew the material and be able to play 2 different aspects of this character. One's the playboy philanthropist, even with Keaton, even though he's not doing like a playboy thing, but when he's Bruce Wayne and he's going to Max Schreck in Batman Returns, he is straight up Bruce Wayne in that moment. He's dealing with Max Schreck and his like, ill-begotten means and everything like that. It's just like he's playing it, it's like straight. But when he's Batman, he is straight up Batman. He's focused, laser focused. And like, Bale, he's like, it's like, it's like, dude, like, nice car. Really? You should see my other one. I was like, I'm gonna make some few changes to a pool area. Who important to Batman anyway? And it's like, I like that. It's like, he knows how to like Patterson, he hasn't gotten there yet because he's still kind of emo, but you can tell it's like, because he's like a recluse, like going out only times when it's like he feels like he absolutely have to. But he you can tell maybe like by the end of this movie or into the 3rd year of his career, he learns to like be able to balance the two, where it's like, you gotta make sure you get people off the scent, especially after dealing with the Riddler, who you think might know who his secret identity, but it turns out he doesn't. Really, he didn't make that connection. It's like, okay, in the next film, he's like, okay, you talking with Alfred, like, okay, I'm almost like, I was worried that he almost figured me out, or at least maybe Alfred explains, like, you almost got figured out by this guy who arguably is pretty damn smart. And it's like, and he's been like on like the Wayne's kind of situation here, and you do not want him making any kind of connection between you and your alter ego. So you're gonna have to play up this Bruce Wayne aspect and go out there, out and about, do this Playboy thing, spending money, on things that's, whatever. So that way, you can hide and play sight kind of situation. You have to do that. Yeah, otherwise, somebody else could, like, who might be as smart or smarter than Riddler will just out you off the bat. So, yeah. So I could definitely see that in the sequel, that he's like have to, play up that Bruce Wayne persona a little bit more and balance it out. But yeah, I love this film. This is like a very, very, very good film. Aside from my personal feelings about how the look of Riddler is, and like maybe the pacing a little bit can be done a little bit better. Oh, Zoe Kravitz, like I'm talking about like Zoe Kravitz Catwoman, like very good Catwoman, very more. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like neck and neck with Michelle Pfeiffer, because she, at least Michelle Pfeiffer actually has the whip, and like Zoe Kravitz hasn't gotten that point yet. This is like technically year one Catwoman in a way, but this Catwoman is very acrobatic, very agile, and very good at like martial arts in her own right. But it's like, I'm pretty sure that, because not a lot of people were feeling the little hoodie thing that's like covering like the lip area and the little itty bitty little cat ears, but it's like very more burglar that happened to do cat like crap. But by the time she make a return in any of the subsequent sequels, it's full on Catwoman, a better Catwoman outfit. Gordon is amazing. And like I said, like I really did think they need to do any Joker stuff here. Even if it was a tease, they didn't get a clear picture of him. They did not need, Matt Reeves didn't need to, like, because like a lot of people, like movie, comic, TV show, it's like, maybe not so much for TV shows, but it's just like, maybe he can help reconstruct the saying that goes the philanthropy thing. Yeah, especially after the place got flooded, which is like another thing I gotta talk about. But it's like, I would respect Matt Reeves so much if they just hold off. He didn't really need to bring him up, but just hold off on Joker for maybe until like the third film, at the very least, third or fourth film, and just talk about Court of Owls in the sequel, maybe, or Firefly, Hush. They hinted at Hush and the Court of Owls very heavily, so it's like, so make that the sequel, or like he talked about, he want to do Mr. Freeze, but it's like, do any one of those, but just leave Joker out of it for a while. Let him be like Thanos, be like a looming threat in the background. Or better yet, excuse me. Mouth's kind of dry. Better yet, treat him like Thanos, where it's like, even like a subsequent sequels, even though he kind of want to be like a trilogy, but it's like Joker recruiting all these villains that Batman takes to Arkham. Like next is like, Mr. Freeze or Hush, and then Court of Owls, and then like, some people getting locked up, and like it's building and building, and like with the Penguin and everything like that, and it's like, what if, this is like a spur in the moment, just popped in my head. What if that Joker being a looming threat in the background, still hiding out in plain sight in the Arkham Asylum, and Batman's just loading them up with all these villains. But then maybe maybe I don't know, fifth or sixth film, they're doing like a live version of Batman Arkham Asylum based off the game, and all the villains, or at least some version of the Arkham games as a whole, and all the villains break loose and like just take over Arkham Asylum and just build this giant army of villains that Batman has to fight. And then at some point throughout this, he meets Robin and Batgirl and stuff like that, and it's like they all go up against all these villains that he been stashing away, and in a way, without thinking, building up, or didn't expect to be building up Joker's army of villains to take over Gotham, which ends up leading into like his back being broken, because in the storyline of Nightfall, Batman is dealing with all these Arkham inmates that escaped thanks to the Joker. Well, thanks to Bane, but it's like, he's tired, and then it's like he's, too exhausted to probably deal with Bane, and get his back broke. That'll be ingenious. It's just like he's stockpiling all these villains just for them to just break loose and be like a huge army for him to deal with. And it's like, that'll just be bonkers, just like the video game. It's like, oh my God, that'd be a genius. But like you said, Daniel, yeah, it's like, with the philanthropy thing, it's like, he's getting out in the public eye and rebuilding Gotham after Joker flooded it, because it's very hints to No Man's Land a little bit. So yeah, man, that would be ingenious. Just to just build up to be like a live version of like the Arkham games. Oh my God, that'd be great. But yeah, all in all, this is it's a solid film. I might be leaving some stuff out. Hold on. I might be leaving some stuff out, but all in all, this was a great film. It didn't even feel like 3 hours, really, because I'm just so engaged, and I really want to see this again, and I want to hopefully within a month's time it'll be on HBO Max, so I can actually rewatch this again, because it's a really, really good film. And it's like, I just love watching this in like a dark theater, because like you're just like when I read a Batman film, a Batman comic, or watching a show or a movie, I want to be in like just in the dark, because that's the proper way to watch anything or read anything Batman. You gotta be around darkness just to get that atmosphere. Like part of the Blue Islands after disaster became Arkham City. Yeah, it's like, William Sharp or something like that, and wall off a certain section of Arkham, and like you get Hugo Strange, another villain, and it's like, oh my God, you can easily build to, like, I'm just spitballing here, this is like just wish fulfillment, but it's like that can easily be a thing. It's like yeah, leave Joker as like a looming Thanos like threat for Batman, and he just keeps recruiting new inmates that Batman loads up. Hush, a few members of the Court of Owls, he might like, or maybe like not even the Court of Owls people, but just like one of their talons, assassins' talons, and Mr. Freeze, and like, all this stuff, and it's like you can build to this like larger problem that Batman inadvertently caused, and like he gets blamed for that at the end of the film, because they all got locked up by Batman, and it's because of Batman. All these people, like, or at least in their warped minds, is like, oh, Batman, and they all became who they are because of Batman, and it was only after Batman, and all of us are suffering the consequences because they're want to like show up Batman or go after Batman or hurt anybody connected to Batman in any kind of way. It's just like that would be ingenious for Matt Reeves to do. That'd be like that really. I wouldn't say blow MCU out of the water, but that really would immediately kind of put them up to like. Obviously, MCU got like a huge head start. I'm not trying to have them play catch up, but I'm just saying like that will really shoot DC right up there, so far as a building blocks of stories and everything like that for uh DC. That's like really like give like a nice feather in like DC's cap if they be able to pull something like that off. That would be brilliant. I kind of in a way just made like a short little like discussion video or something like I imagine myself like doing, because that would be ingenious for Matt Reeves to do. Oh my god, that'd be so brilliant. That'd be so brilliant to do. Oh my god, just like a live, imagine a live version of the Arkham games. Just building up to like, something, a combined version of what Arkham City and Night had going on. Or even like I said, like all of them. But it's like, just like a nice combination of all of them. You get like a Deathstroke in there too. Just because. I don't know. Is Deathstroke technically a Batman villain? You get at some point you get Ra's al Ghul, or at least some version of the League of Assassins involved. That thing that Batman is injected at the end. That's what a lot of people are assuming, because like, I just chalked it up as just adrenaline shots, because typically adrenaline shots was the last 15 minutes just to long enough for you to be getting to a hospital before it wears off whatever that you was going through, because trying to keep you alert and like the just the adrenaline going, because once that goes down and the blood loss starts getting to you, you be in a danger zone. But I don't know, maybe some people assume that's proto Bane's venom, but then again, Bane's venom isn't, well, depending on how it was concocted, it could easily be, set up to be like maybe like a small dosage, like a very small dosage can be used for like adrenaline purposes, but in large quantities or just more potent stuff, it could easily be the traditional venom, whereas you grow big and stronger. But that's a lot of people assuming it was Bane's little venom shot. But, maybe it's like if Bane can be brought into it, he could easily got into whatever warehouse or that's containing these kind of chemicals, and he's fine-tuning it to work for his purposes to make him the Bane that we know. That could be a genius thing. But, yeah. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. But it's like, yeah, the Batman movie is just phenomenal. I like I said, like, I don't think we need like a Penguin TV series. Not everything needs to be a series or a spinoff or whatever like that. But Colin Farrell was fine at like the Penguin. I didn't hate him, but I'm not like all wild like a lot of people are. And like, I'm not too thrilled about keeping the Riddler in that duct tape mask thing all throughout the film, and did not once show him in like some facsimile of a suit. But those are, I guess, technically nitpicks. But and then like the pacing as well. I mean, like maybe at certain spots you could have trimmed down. You didn't really need it to be 3 hours, but it didn't really bother me all that too much. Like Detective Vision. Yeah, I mean, like, that would have been awesome too, but it's year 2 Batman. He hasn't gotten there yet. It's like, it'll take at least a few years before the suit is upgraded. And like, we get introduced to Lucius Fox, and like, can you imagine they still use Morgan Freeman? Because that'll be like, because why not? It's Morgan fucking Freeman. Why not use him? But yeah, to get Lucius Fox to show him more tech, or at least fine tuning certain ideas that he not only, because in Nolan stuff, Lucius Fox does all the building of the stuff, and you don't see the sciencey part with Bruce in that stuff. But this, you get to see Bruce do some sciencey stuff, and detective stuff. So he can easily work with Lucius Fox in building like a more advanced version of the suit or more upgrades to the Batmobile, especially when he's dealing with. Because when Batman is dealing with a particular villain, that's when you see him doing some upgrades to like his suit or the car, just to counteract certain villains. Oh, I mean, I was like, I thought the eyes turn green when Venom is being shot into the bloodstream, because that's what I normally see in certain iterations with Bane when he's shooting himself up with Venom. Anyway, that is my take on the Batman. At some point this month, for the month of Women's History Month, I will be doing a spoiler review of Gal Gadot's first Wonder Woman movie. And I need, at some point, maybe by the end of the month, I'll start with spoiler reviews of all like the canonically Star Wars stuff from the very first film, like Episode 1, even with like a couple of the shows like Rebels, Resistance, which I haven't seen, and Clone Wars TV series, along with the movies from like start to finish, including Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. That's why I never did like a spoiler review of the Book of Boba Fett when that was airing. I wanted to be part of this, thing, and I was trying to make sure I get it all done before the Obi-Wan series starts in May, at the end of May. So hopefully it'd be great if I could get it all done before May the 4th. But in case that doesn't happen, I will at least try to get it all done before Obi-Wan series comes out. In my opinion, the best superhero movie since The Dark Knight. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because as good as Zack Snyder did as trying to get everything set right with his take on the DC universe, especially Batman, I think Matt Reeves' Batman is arguably as good as like The Dark Knight. Yeah, I think it's fair to say. Like I said, it's like in my opinion, I think like top 4 Batman films: 89, Batman Returns, Dark Knight, and Matt Reeves' Batman. Those are 4 the part like the best Batman live action Batman films that I've seen, and they're pretty damn good. Like even after all these years, I cannot tell you how many times it's not even just revisit The Dark Knight. Every time I want to watch the Dark Knight, I have to watch it in all 3 together, back to back. I feel compelled to do that because it seems more complete. That's how I personally want to view it. But yeah, I will see you guys in like 5 to 10 minutes while I got a new discussion video to do, which shouldn't last too long, for maybe like 30 to 40 minutes, if that. And then I got a comic book review to do, which is like a short Elseworld story, a Batman one. And I will, that shouldn't take too long either. So I will see you in a little bit. Hopefully you'll be there, watch me live as I discuss this. And we'll have a nice little back and forth. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. And if you're watching this on YouTube later in the future, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about the Matt Reeves Batman film yourself. And any pros or cons, what you hope for the future with this version of Batman. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash that like button. Show your support. And and I will see you guys soon.